This session is geared towards current students that may be having trouble with their current term and want to know how their financial aid will be impacted by their progress. In specifics, this session will go over satisfactory academic progress, return of Title IV funds, and then we'll conclude with some updates for the spring 2012 term. One major change in financial aid processing is the Satisfactory Academic Progress, or SAP. Currently, we have our SAP guidelines published on page 15 of the student handbook. If you look at the table on page 15, you'll see that we measure SAP based on two components, quality and quantity. A student's quality is measured using their grade point average, their GPA. It's going to be based on the amount of credit hours that you've completed, so you want to make sure that you locate the correct part of the table to give you what your GPA should be. Quantity is measured by dividing the amount of hours, earned hours, by the amount of hours attempted. Terra State's institutional policy is to review both the quality and the quantity standards at the end of every term. If a student is not meeting either or both quantity or quality, then they will have their financial aid status changed from good standing to either financial aid warning or financial aid suspension. These are two new designations, so let's go into this in a little further detail. Financial aid warning is similar to our current financial aid probation status. In financial aid warning, students are still eligible to receive financial aid. However, they must regain good standing within one term. If students are unable to do that, they are placed on financial aid suspension. The financial aid suspension status is when students are ineligible for federal student aid at Terra State Community College. This status does not follow you from institution to institution. So if you were to transfer, then you would no longer be on financial aid suspension. Now, when the student is placed on financial aid suspension, there are only two options. Either the student pays out of pocket or uses private alternative loans to fund education until their GPA or completion rate meet the guidelines on page 15 of the student handbook, or they can appeal this status. They can appeal the status by getting an appeals form from A100, completing it, and making sure that it's filled out clearly, completely, and has all the necessary supplemental documentation. Once a student goes through the appeals process, they can either be approved or denied. If a student is approved, then they will either be placed on financial aid probation or an academic plan. The financial aid probation status are for students that are on financial aid suspension and can regain academic eligibility after one term. For those students that need multiple terms to get back in within good standing, then we need to place them on an academic plan. The academic plan is going to serve as a contract, so you'll need to make sure that you limit yourself only to the courses in your academic plan and that you complete them successfully. That means getting a C or better and not withdrawing from any of your courses. Once you complete the probation or the academic plan, then you will be back on good standing. One big thing that's different now between the current regulations and the new ones is that financial aid warning is different than probation in that students cannot be on financial aid warning for more than 2 consecutive semesters. So remember that if you're on financial aid warning and you do not regain good standing and within one term, then you will be placed on financial aid suspension. Another component to SAP that we have not talked about is maximum time frame. The Department of Education makes federal student aid eligible to all individuals making progress towards a degree or certificate. If you have not completed your degree within 150% of the published time frame, you will be placed on financial aid suspension. So an example here is that if you're in an associate degree program and the published time frame is 60 credit hours, you will have 90 credit hours to be placed on or to achieve the degree. Students that are above 150% are placed on financial aid suspension. In terms of our policy at Terra State Community College, students at or above the 90 credit hour limit will be placed on an academic plan. We're going to ask you to go ahead and meet with an academic advisor or faculty advisor to go ahead and create a plan that's going to outline how many credit hours you need to complete your degree. And then you will be limited to only those courses so you can basically achieve the degree and move on to the next step. Students approaching 90 credit hours will begin receiving communication about our policy from the financial aid office. Another question that's frequently asked by students is how withdrawing from courses impact their financial aid. In certain circumstances, Terra State Financial Aid Office is required to perform what's called a return of Title IV funds calculation. We refer to this as R2T4. Basically, students that meet special circumstances may have to have aid returned, and this conversation right here is to kind of give you some insight as to the who, the how much, and what should I do. First, who is selected for the return of calculation? Who qualifies under these special circumstances? If you successfully complete one class for the current term, you've earned your aid for the entire term. So that means none of your aid is going to be returned. Students that do not complete at least one class with a passing grade are considered either an official or an unofficial withdrawal, depending on how they handled it. So let me give you an example. Official withdrawals are students that complete the scheduled change form or the add drop form at the records office. So they actually go ahead and you officially withdraw and have W's on your transcripts. So an official withdrawal student that qualifies for return of Title IV funds calculation would have to first have all W's. An unofficial withdrawal student is a student that stops attending or participating in class prior to the completion of the term. So that student would have either all F's, U's, and I's. Official withdrawals and unofficial withdrawals must undergo the R2T4 calculation. So again, as long as you complete at least one course successfully, then you do not have a return of Title IV funds calculation performed and no aid would be turned back. If you do qualify for an R2T4, well, how much is sent back? One part of this calculation is based on the date that you ceased academic engagement in the course. Financial aid will utilize attendance records to determine when you stop participating in the course. This date is used to determine the percentage of term not completed, and then we use this percentage later. The last part, it's based on the amount of fees and federal student aid that you've received for the term. So now we look back at the percentage of the term not completed, and using that percentage with the amount of fees and the amount of aid returned, we are required to send back the lower of that percentage times the cost of attendance, or the percentage of the term not completed times the amount of aid. And the lower of that too is required to be sent back to the Department of Education. So what should you do if you qualify for this? Well, first, as you can see, there are a lot of factors impacting how much aid we must return. So we always ask that students come down to the financial aid office and allow us to kind of look at your specific circumstances so we can give you a good picture, an accurate picture of how much money might be returned. If you are unsure how this will impact your aid, again, please just visit A100 and we'll be glad to help you out. Finally, we have the financial aid updates. Scholarship applications are now available online at the student portal. So starting November 1st, we'll have the 2012-2013 scholarship application available. Currently, we have the 2011-2012 scholarship application online, although we have currently funded all of the dollar amounts that are available for 11 and 12. Sometimes funds become available, so you can still submit one, and we'll keep it on file for review. But if you're interested in scholarship applications for 2012-2013, go ahead and visit your student portal under My Forms and complete the scholarship application starting November 1st. And it's not too late, or it's not too early, I should say, to focus on the 2012-2013 FAFSA. Starting January 1st, those applications are available online. You can go ahead and complete those using estimates of taxes. And then what we'll do is have you go online and correct them after you have submitted taxes. but 2012, 2013 is available starting January 1st. So we encourage you to go out there and at least start the process of filling it out. And the 2012, 2013 award letters will begin being sent out April 1st. So, the earlier you get your FAFSA done, the quicker we can get you your award letter and through the verification process. If you have any additional comments or concerns about this conversation or about this session, please visit Financial Aid in A100.